to you, all right? So, have you ever experienced a time when you're in a relationship and you realize that there were a bunch of signs, but you decided to ignore it? Like there were signs the whole time. There were red flags, there were lack of effort, and something just felt like it wasn't really right, right? But then again, you decided to ignore it because you wanted things to work. And the reality is a lot of people they don't struggle because they're weak or they're incapable of it. They struggle because they're unwilling to acknowledge the truth about what is really going on with the relationship. That being said, if you are new here, my name is Mitchell. I'm a relationship coach, and in today's live video, I'll be talking about you can't heal what you refuse to acknowledge. So, let's talk about the first thing, which is most people want to heal, but they avoid the truth. So, everyone wants to grow, everyone wants to heal and improve their life. I don't think there's anyone out there that doesn't want to have a good life, right? And so that's why most of the self-help content out there, it's so popular, is because a lot of people want change. There's a struggle out there, right? For most people. And wanting to change, though, is one thing, but willing to confront the truth is another. And those are two completely different things. And so acknowledging something uncomfortable means that you have to admit to some things like, well, maybe I tolerated disrespect longer than I should have, or maybe I should maybe I shouldn't have ignored those red flags because who knows, maybe because you were afraid of being alone, or that you kept chasing someone who wasn't really willing to choose you. And so that level of honesty is uncomfortable. So instead of confronting the truth, what most people do, they would rather distract themselves. And you're like, well, how would they distract themselves? Well, it's easy. So you might feel like you're productive when you're listening to a lot of motivations, watching videos like this, getting a lot of good advice, and watching even more content. So you can watch 100 of these videos. You can watch 1,000 of these videos. But no matter what, it won't change anything unless you're willing to change. And so you have to take a step back and pause long enough to ask yourself, like, am I willing to change? Am I willing to make the necessary changes, the action, in order to make a change in my life? And so you might have to ask yourself, like, well, what part of this situation did I avoid seeing? Well, what were some of the things I overlooked because I was too obsessed over not losing someone in a relationship or losing myself? And so without this step, real healing cannot begin. And so why our brain avoids acknowledging painful truths? And this is just the reality for everybody, right? Everybody wants to grow, but no one's willing to work for it. So our brain is wired to protect us, and that's the reality. Our brain is wired to protect us from emotional pain and not necessarily there to make us grow. So acknowledging painful truths triggers emotions like, well, rejection, embarrassment, regret, and there's a lot of shame. And so from a psychological perspective, the brain often interprets this as a threat. Like, well, if this is a threat, we should back away because our brain is wired to survive. It's not wired to thrive. And so what do we do instead? We rationalize. So we make excuses for them. Like, well, they just either need time, or maybe I am overthinking it. Or if I try harder, they will change. And the worst one, in my opinion, is it's normal to be treated like this because that's what you're used to. And so this is why people stay stuck in situations that clearly are not working for them. And this is, and like I said, it isn't because they're weak or anything, okay? It's because their denial protects their ego temporarily. And so you have to realize, as you are quote unquote protecting yourself, it comes with a cost. The problem never really actually gets resolved. And so you're putting off a lot of things, and you're also enabling and tolerating a lot of disrespect that's going on. And the real hidden cost of avoidance in relationship is that many people, like I said, they say they want love, they say they want a healthy partner, they want, well, most people just want to be in a relationship. They think once I'm in a relationship, I will figure it out. But they never really spend the time to work on themselves long enough to maintain a good, happy, and healthy relationship. And so things like, well, when they start to avoid acknowledging signs or the truth while they're in a relationship, for example, like I said, ignoring red flags because, well, the chemistry between us feels too good, or AKA overvaluing chemistry and undervaluing character. Staying with someone who is not emotionally available, or who isn't emotionally available, but hoping that they will change. Overgiving and sacrificing your needs in order to try to keep that relationship alive. Now, deep down, they often sense that really, something's wrong. Like something is wrong, but acknowledging it and facing the painful reality, that's where it all begins. That's where healing begins. And so you have to ask yourself, well, is this true? Like maybe the other person isn't as invested as I am in that relationship, or maybe the relationship just isn't healthy for whatever reasons it may be. Maybe they're accepting less than they really deserve. So instead of acknowledging the truth, people often negotiate with this type of reality, which is, well, let's make some excuses for them. And to them, that's the story, and it's truthful, and so that's what they're gonna consistently tell themselves. Oh, they're just busy, they'll change eventually, or if I work harder it will work, or if I try harder it will work. But the longer someone avoids the truth, the more they will lose themselves in the relationship. Now, that type of self-sacrifice, it creates opposite results of what they really want. And the reality is, you're approaching this with this idea of with this fear, and when whatever you fear, you attract. So it's kind of like the law of attraction. If you're constantly having this fear, but yet you're like, well, let me just try something different, but your mind is sticking to that fear like white on rice, eventually you're gonna get the result that you don't want, which is, oh, I don't want to lose them. And so now, most people, they will constantly abandon their own boundaries, right? They abandon their own boundaries. They lower their standards, or they lose self-respect for themselves. And all this is just so that they could try to keep someone around. And it will slowly lead to a loss of respect in a relationship. Now, especially if you're watching this and you're a guy, you're a masculine man, all right? If you're a masculine man, or supposedly the masculine man in the relationship, but yet you act this way, what's going to happen is that where love goes, where respect goes, love follows. And so if you're a man and you don't respect yourself enough to stand up for yourself or to walk away from a situation, she is never going to love you. So it's kind of like being in this relationship. She may be physically there, but what you really want is for her to come to you and show her she showed you love to you. And it's painful. I've seen this more often than not. And it's like guys that will stay stuck in a relationship, they will say certain things like, well, now that she's gone or she isn't here, I could start doing this. It's like they're really shying away from being who they really want to be in a relationship. And so they never really get to heal. They're like, well, at least I could say I'm in a relationship. So I really don't know what they really want in a relationship. But in my opinion, it is always better that she likes you more than you like her. And when I say you, I'm talking about the guy. Okay. It is always better that she likes you more. And the reason why is because that's how feminine energy flourishes. It's because feminine energy is about bonding. It's about connecting. It's about opening up to receive love. And Straight line from Coach Corey Wayne, right? And the reality of that is that's where feminine energy flourishes. And it's allowing her to come to you at her pace and having her open up to you. But it's our job as men to help facilitate that. And if you're not able to do that, well, this is a good place for you to learn. And so now healing in relationships starts with being honest with yourself and having self-respect. So this is where the turning point comes. The turning point happens when someone stops asking, like, why did this person treat me this way? But instead you ask yourself this: well, what were some of the truths that I was unwilling to acknowledge in this relationship? Like, was this person a liar and a cheater? Well, did this person always say one thing and then does another? Like, what is it that that person is or is not doing? And so that's why I always say, like, well, you could always bottom line someone's action. So now here's some other truths, right? Well, maybe the truth was the other person just didn't really show their intentions early enough, right? Or the effort wasn't really mutual. You're putting in way too much effort for an ounce of, like, cool, thanks. Boundaries were never really enforced, or they stayed because they were feared of being alone. And so this is where healing actually begins. Not by blaming yourself though, but by learning patterns, focusing on the patterns. Example, bottom lining their actions. When they say something, are they following through with what they're saying? Hey, I'll be there by this time, or I will do this at this time. Like, what is it that they are congruent with? And you can always bottom line someone's action. And so it's going to sting a little at first, at least your ego, but it's not going to destroy you. At least you're going to have this idea of, hey, you know what? Maybe this person isn't as consistent as I would like them to be. And then maybe that's a setup for another conversation for you two to have. And if they're unwilling to change, well, you will know how to walk away from it. And so when you become honest with yourself, your behavior naturally changes, right? They start setting and enforcing healthy boundaries, walking away sooner from unhealthy relationships or unhealthy dynamics. Maybe they're aggressive, maybe they're verbally abusive, whatever it may be, you're able to walk away from it because you're able to see certain things and you're like, hey, you know what? This is not healthy. I tried communicating with them, but it's not working out, so I'll need to step away. And so choosing partners who show consistent effort, you will start to understand, hey, you know what? I need someone that is willing to put in the effort into the relationship, not just me. And, you know, we all been through it. At least I know I've been through this personally. And I saw a lot of lack of effort in my previous relationships. And I just thought it was normal. It was because, oh, you know, this is what the guy's supposed to do. I'm supposed to try harder. I'm supposed to do more. And trying harder, it's like working way too hard without being smart. I just thought, hey, you know what? If I show up enough, if I just do more, if I just help her out more, eventually something will work out. And honestly, I was enabling more of that behavior in the past. And so what I realized is, look, is this person showing up or are they not? And if they're not, let me walk away, and that's okay. And the moment I was able to walk away from a situation like that, my life just 10x'd. It 10x'd. And then I started seeing others that are willing to put in the effort. And I'm like, wow. Like, and then in the beginning, I was like, wait, hold up. Is this real? Like, people actually care. It's not just me always trying to like put in the effort all the time. Like, they will reciprocate. And your reality starts to change. And then it's really believing in yourself that, hey, you know what? I do deserve this, but not only do I deserve it, I need to work for it. So a lot of people aren't willing to walk away, and a lot of people aren't willing to work for it. So when you combine those two together, what do you get? A disaster. And so expecting something without trying to work for something is insane. It's insane. It's like, well, everybody wants a handout, but nobody wants to work for it. And so the same thing goes with relationship. You have to work towards a healthy relationship. And that just means that you got to be honest with yourself. Like, what is it in this relationship that I am not happy about? And you need to talk about it. And the more you're able to confront it consistently. Oh, thank you. And the more you're able to consistently talk about it with your partner, and that's why that's why they say communication is key. But what they don't really mention is that communication is both ends. It's not one way. And so being upset about it, throwing your hands up in the air and say, you know what, forget it, this is never gonna work, but yet still staying in a relationship, it's like, to me, that's insanity. It's like you want someone who's willing to compromise, not compromise their goals and values or the core values, but like, hey, you know, what are certain things that I could put to the side so that I could help flourish this relationship a little bit more. And so for me, my girlfriend, for example, we spend a lot of time watching movies together and doing things that are not necessarily, we don't need to spend a lot of money to have a good time. But there are some times where we would spend, and it's okay. You know what? In this economy, I get it. It's a little tough out there. And so it's like, well, what can we do? And what are some of the things that she wants? And so I always tell guys, I was like, look, excuse me. You always want to date and court your woman. Why? Because if you stop dating and courting her, eventually another man will. If you stop dating and courting her, eventually another man will. And don't be surprised if she's like, well, now what she does before, what she does in between your relationship, that reveals her character. Like if she's going to monkey branch and talk to somebody else while still in a relationship, well, she just revealed her character. But if she's like trying to talk to you and be like, hey, hey Mitchell, I'm really unhappy in this relationship and blah 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 blah, and then she's like, and I decide, hey, you know what, you're just crazy, you don't know how good you got it, I'm unwilling to listen to her feelings, and I just keep ignoring it and keep pushing it away. Eventually she's gonna be like, hey, you know what, now a healthy woman would be like, you know what, this isn't gonna work out. She's gonna walk away. And when she walks away, she takes some time to process that, to heal from that, and then open her back up to the market. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to have someone, or at least attract someone that is willing to put in the same amount of effort. And so that is what a healthy person will do. They step away from their relationship, take time to heal, and then go back out. And then hopefully find someone. And people like that, they don't stay in the market very long. You know what I mean? It's like it's like having a good eBay deal. Like everybody's always trying to find that one nice deal. Like those get snatched up right away. And so it's like, well, if you constantly work on yourself, and not only just work on yourself, but understand what it takes to be in a good relationship, what are healthy dynamics, and having similar goals and similar values, that is what is going to make your relationship flourish. So just imagine your goals in a relationship. Maybe you're a type of person that likes to stay home, but the other person likes to go out and rave or go out and drink or party, you know. Yeah, my ex needs advice like this. He got mad at me for liking singers that are boys. He will argue with me that, so I broke up with him. Yeah, so I'm sorry to say this, but it sounds like a lot of that is just coming from a place of insecurity. Now, I think it would do him very, very well to work on that and be like, hey, there are guys that my girlfriend like sees and be like, wow, that man is very attractive. He's a very attractive man. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. He is not a bad looking guy. I'm pretty sure he will have a lot of success. Now, this is what I always believe though. And maybe, I don't know, call it arrogance, call it confidence, whatever you want it. Whatever you may want to call it. But I believe that I would never stop working on myself. And I will continue to work on myself until the end of myself. You know what I mean? That being said, there's not a lot of people like that are willing to continue to work on themselves. And like I said, it might sound a little arrogant, but I'm like, hey, you know what? If you do find someone better, I'm like, what do they know that I don't? So I'm like, and if that person is really that much better, I'm like, hey, you know what? You deserve better. But like I said, there's not a lot of people out there like that that's willing to work on themselves like how I'm willing to. Yes, but also many other reasons. Like I would like to stay home sometimes when I'm sick. He would get mad, very toxic. And so, yeah. And that's just, here, let me, if you don't mind sharing me your name, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more. But I would like to call you by your first name or give me an anonymous name or something. But I think what's important in that is understanding how attraction works. I think your ex might have some I think everybody has a little bit of insecurities. But yelling and screaming, arguing, like you never win. I never argue with my girl. I'll never argue because arguing, look, if you're yelling and screaming, chances are it's coming from a place of fear. Now, am I saying that it would never happen? Probably not, because human emotions and feelings are unpredictable. And when you push to the limit, hey, look, sometimes the bottle cap might explode, right? But you do your best as a man to keep your composure. What masculine energy really is, it's calm energy. It's calm, cool, calm, and collected. And knowing what needs to be done, even if times are tough. I'm Korean, so in Korean, nabi means butterfly. Okay. Also many reasons. And oh, sorry, I lost my train of thoughts. But back to what you were saying. Masculine. Oh yeah, masculine energy. Masculine energy is cool. It's calm. It's collected. He's that rock. He's that center. He's the center for her, center for himself. But he has to do it for himself first. That's the most important thing. He must do it for himself first. And so it in the beginning, it took me a long time to acknowledge, like I had a lot of flaws. I had a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of mistakes. I wasn't really seeing results right away. But it wasn't until I really spent the time to back off and be like, damn, I made a lot of mistakes. And of course, I read some books on relationships. I read books on how to be human. Excuse me. One of my favorite books, by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's like the Bible of how to be human and how to treat people better. And, you know, of course, you know, you draw the line. You know, there's always going to be upset people. There's always going to be people that are fake. There's also going to be people that are just mad at the world. And you know what? If you're a stranger that walk past them and they're having a bad day, they will take it out on you. Everyone's always dealing with some sort of issue. And we have this bias that negative, like we experience loss way more than we experience gain, right? So example is here, look, You won 200 bucks. Great. I feel great, but you lost. Like, you walk outside the street and you drop $20. Just imagine that, okay? Even if I gave you 200 and you dropped 20 bucks, you still be upset. Like, way more upset than me giving you the two. It's I can't explain it. I'm not a psychologist. But I just understand it. I'm like, this is how human emotion works. And so by understanding things like this, by understanding attraction and how it works, and there's two biggest reasons why most relationships fall apart, which is one, you stop dating and courting your woman, and she stops feeling heard and understood. If you just sit there and listen to her, just let her talk about. When my girl comes home, I always just ask her, like, hey babe, how was your day? How was work? What was it like? Did you have a good time at work? Are you hungry? Yes, I'm hungry. Well, there's food in there. You can make it yourself. But tell me about your day. Why you Oh, you're mean. Okay. While you're at it, could you make me some food too? I would love to hear about your day. And it's like keeping it playful and fun and not too serious and not too heavy. And when problem arises, you listen. And I'm not saying I'm the best listener, but what I would say is that I do try my best to listen every single time. With that being said, healing, it's just just really respecting yourself first, being vulnerable to yourself. I think that's very, very important. Too many people, when there's too many, what do we call it? Like shadows, your own shadows that you are unwilling to approach or unwilling to face because of some sort of fear. We tend to cope by distracting ourselves, whether it's looking shopping or just eating comfort food, whatever it may be. It's like, if we just spend a little bit of time and just focus on some of the problems and be like, well, let me at least work towards this, a lot of things would be a lot better. And it's like, it doesn't take a superhuman to do this. Take some part of your life, whatever it may be, right? Your finances. If you literally just sat down for, I don't know, give yourself 30 minutes to an hour and write down like, hey, you know what? If I make, say you make $2,000 a month, okay? And this is before taxes. So after tax, maybe a little less, whatever it may be, right? And you saved a certain percentage. Like, you take a percentage and you save it, whatever it may be. So say, for example, you made $2,000, okay? Say after tax, to keep math simple. You save 10%. That's $200. You put it aside. You pay yourself first, so you invest it. Ideally, you want a little bit more, but like, you just did that every single month. You will save. But most people, they try to drown their problems away by either ignoring it, by distracting themselves. And now we have like social media. We watch a lot of, there's so many distractions out there. A lot of people forget to unplug. And there's a lot of good advice, and there's also a lot of bad advice out there too. One thing I would, and this is just my personal opinion, be careful listening to people that hates women. Okay, not hate, but they argue. I'm not saying that there aren't bad men or women out there, but they're just upset at women because that's like, oh, modern women are like this and whatever. It's like, be careful with those, because then you fall into this trap of this whole echo chamber where everyone's talking about the same thing, and then you get this community of people that you agree with. And I'm not saying what you're agreeing with, what you're feeling isn't right. I'm pretty sure it is, but it doesn't mean that it's factual. Just because you're like, yeah, you know what, all women are like, it's like, no, it's not. But to some degree, there's a lot of accountability within yourself. And a lot of these guys, they don't like to take accountability. They just blame people. It's like, well, nothing will change if all you do is point fingers. And so I always remember this. Anytime you point your finger at one person, three's pointing back at you. So that's why we got two ears and one mouth. We got to listen twice as much as we would like to speak. And so just keeping things very simple, and that, like I said, like finance. So in relationship, you sit down, you listen to your spouse. What does she has to say? How I understand about relationships is, men and women solve problems differently. Not everyone, but this is how I like to solve her problem, by not solving her problem. She would solve it for, herself if I just listen, if I just ask her questions. What do you mean by that? Tell me more. Don't leave anything out. Like, what is it? What happened at work? Or, what's happening? What's going on? Why are you crying? What's bothering you? She would tell you how she feels. Okay? And then you listen. And then eventually she's going to be like, "Oh my God, you're the best boyfriend ever. Your best husband ever," right? So, men, they like to solve I personally like to solve my problem by isolating myself. Why? Because I like to figure it out myself. Whether it's maybe talking to my homeboy or whatever it is, I can't talk about my problem to you right now. Eventually I will. I just need a break so that I don't say something stupid. That's me personally. And so men and women like to solve the problems differently, okay? Women like to be heard a little bit more. Men like to isolate. And so I have to understand that. And if she doesn't want to talk about it right away, I understand. But eventually we always come back and we communicate. And I think that's huge in a relationship. And the same thing goes in a workplace. There are some people that are unwilling to change and all they do is blame. So whatever it may be, whatever struggles you're dealing with right now, if you just focus on one little tiny thing and you work towards that once every other day for a short period of time, like, your life will change. Your life will change. It doesn't change immediately, but it will change. It's like if you eat fast food 7 days a week, try cutting it down to 5. I caught him with another girl after church because he doesn't go with me because he's not religious like me. I caught him hugging and being a little intimate with her. Like, did you catch him? When you say intimate, like, what do you mean by that? So, wait, I caught him with another girl after church because he doesn't go with you because he's not religious like you. So you were somewhere else. He kissed. Yeah. That's immediate. Bye. Like, you're out of my life, because who said it? Maya Angelou. She said, when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. And so what he just did was he revealed his character to you. And, going back to what I was saying earlier, it's, a lot of people, they overvalue chemistry, how they feel about a person, but they undervalue character. And the character will reveal itself. And most people could hide themselves for at least 90 days. And so when you are getting into this relationship, like, take your time. You don't have to rush. And matter of fact, me and my girl now were, few days ago, it was our 2 years. Few days ago, it was our 2-year anniversary. And so I wanted to take it slow. And to me, thank you. And to me, I'm like, wow, that went by so freaking fast. But it's also because I have a purpose. My purpose in life is to help, whether it's a service of teaching you relationship. I'm also a personal trainer as well. So, I like to keep my physical strength up. and I like to share it with the people around me that I care about, especially my family, my mom. I'm actually really, side note, I'm really proud of my mom. She's 77 this year, I think. 75, 77, somewhere in the mid to high 70s. Okay, mid to late, and I'm just really proud of her because she goes to the gym every single day. Even though she doesn't like go, she's not there to lift heavy weights. She's there to move. And to me, that's more than enough. And so my purpose is to have some sort of impact in someone's life, whether it's, yeah, she goes to the gym 6, 7 days a week. And other people are like, yeah, how do you get your mom to go there? I was like, I tricked her, but in a loving way. I was like, Mom, why do you come to the gym with me? It's She was like, why do I need to do all that? She didn't do this, but she was like, why do I need to do all that? I was like, because I want you to join me, and it might be fun. It might be fun, you know. So I got her on a treadmill. I had her walk. I was like, just walk, don't run, walk. Walk very slow. Walking's good for you. And if walking hurts, use the elliptical. Okay? Whatever it may be. Just watch TV. Just do something. You're already watching TV at home this COVID time. Just move. So she did it once a week with me. Then it bumped up to twice to 3 times. She was like, what does that machine do? Curiosity started to kick in. I'm like, that's for your chest. That's for your back. That's for your shoulders. She was like, what does a shoulder do? I was like, well, the shoulder helps this. And, what does a chest do? I was like, think about pushing things, right? And so she started to have curiosity. And when she had curiosity, I was always willing to listen because I had to understand she's a woman. And my mom loves to speak a lot. And sometimes she doesn't know when to stop. And sometimes I personally have my limits. And so I was like, you know what? Just work on this, okay? And then little by little, she built up a routine. I was like, you see this row of exercises? Just do the whole row, okay? It doesn't have to be heavy. Just stimulate your muscles. You get stronger. And little by little, I think what actually inspired her friends was she said one of her doctors was like, yeah, you no longer have to be on this medication anymore. And I was like, yeah, that wasn't my goal, although I just wanted her to be healthy. Like, that was my goal. And so to hear that, that was it's very fulfilling, especially, my mom, right? She took care of all of us by herself. And so, anyways, yeah, it takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication, but eventually, you will get to where you want to be if you just had the right intentions. And sometimes even if you do have the right intentions and you execute it wrong or not as optimally, you're still doing it. It's just, it could be different ways. So finding a different approach. And right now I'm just rambling, but just acknowledge the truth of what you're avoiding. And so I always try to work on my mental health, which is stimulating my mind with good resources, whether it's finance, whether it's, learning how to take care of myself physically. And then on top of that, I have to learn about my relationships because these are things that are important to me. I'm like, I want to feel good. I want to look good, and I want to be able to move. Right now, currently, as I'm speaking, I have a little bit of backache. So right now I'm learning a lot more about my back. And so if I could fix that myself, maybe having other people help me, educate me, that's something I'm working on, right? And I'm like, okay, something seems to be working. And if I could do that, maybe eventually I could help somebody else, right? I'll have a little nugget of knowledge on how to fix your lower back, whatever it may be. And so to me, I find it like a game. It's like a challenge. And if I could overcome this, I could consistently overcome things because, life will always throw obstacles at you no matter where you go. So it's not about not having problems. It's about how well you can start solving problems. And, there's certain problems that me personally, I'm like, look, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. An example is I won't change my own oil. I don't like being underneath a car. Something about that. I don't want to be underneath a car. I'll give someone $50 to do that, right? But, I should still understand it. Like if I had to do it, this is, so just little things. And like I said, focus on one little thing at a time. Your finances, your career, right? Your mental, understanding how relationship works. Like just imagine this. You have a lifetime to get better at the things that you want to do. But most people spend it all on a couch or, on bed, laying in a bed, scrolling through a phone and not actually doing anything. So if there's anything that I would leave for you guys before I end this stream is please don't just listen to the stream and, feel good about yourself. Feeling good is inspiring, but don't let that inspiration or motivation go to waste by not doing anything. So pick one thing, whatever it may be, try it out for a week, okay? Just try it out for a week. And, you just have to remember this. It takes about 3 months or 90 days to develop a habit. And if you don't do it consistently enough, if you haven't at least done it for 90 days, then you can't really say, you really did it. You know what I mean? So pick one thing, get laser focused at it, and become better. Thank you so much. This will help me so much with my recovery. I thought, congrats on you. You two seem beautiful. Thank you. I love to know your name. I do these live every Saturday at 12 p.m. my time. I'm not sure where your time zone is, but I always talk about relationship, but really it's about improving your life and understanding that you have to take personal responsibility. No one's here to save you. No one's here to fix your problems. You have to fix it yourself, right? So whatever it may be, it's understanding what you've been avoiding and what you're willing to do. I'm in Korea, so it's pretty late. But butterfly. Okay. Nabi. Okay. Well, I really hope this inspires you enough to do something. And I have plenty of other videos that if you're interested in watching, I do, I don't even know how many I've done, but I've done a lot. I've been doing it for 5 years now, at least once a week, sometimes twice before. During COVID, I had a little bit more time, but right now, I've been doing this for a while. So if you ever have any questions, feel free. I have all my socials up on my channel as well. So, feel free to ask questions. I just want to help whoever that's willing to help themselves. Okay. That being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for staying here. And I have a bunch of things I need to do today. So I'll see you guys in the next live. All right. And I thought, since I'm still young, like I just hit 20. I would take a long time to recover, but I will recover fast with this information. Wow. Okay. And you don't need to rush the recovery. If you feel a certain thing, if you feel like you need to cry, you need to let it out, let it out. It's okay, right? You need to feel it to heal it. And that's another little nugget of knowledge. You need to feel it to heal it. Feel what you have to feel, but don't just let it linger. Move on from it by actually doing something for yourself. That's how you gain confidence. That's how you gain competence. And when you're more competent in something, you will have more confidence. So, you know, still very, very young. I'm what, almost double your age. So give it some time, you know. I still don't have everything figured out, and I'm pushing 40, close to 40. So yeah. Anyways, thank you. Whoever the other person is watching. I'll be doing another live next week. All right. Thank you for listening. Peace.